It's called relevance, everyone. If you're not relevant to someone, the second I make a long tail barstool joke, every barstool dude is like, fuck yeah. Like it's not super complicated. And so, because everyone gets so boring and vanilla right away. People say to me all the time, they're like, it's a really funny thing that I fuck people up with. Like, because I've been so consistent and growing and all this stuff. But then like sometimes they'll be like, but Gary, you say the same shit. I'm like, what do you want me to make up stuff I don't believe in? And then they go, like if they stick with me in that convo, they start to realize, I say the same macro 15 things, but the way I say it differently and how and where and what and to whom, that's the game.
Yeah.
So cohorts, these are consumer segmentations. In old television talk, it was, we're trying to reach the 18 to 35-year-old demo. I like to think, and I know I'm looking at your crew a lot because I like doing that, like, I like to think everyone in here is at a point in their lives where they realize an 18-year-old person and a 32-year-old person, the same person, are very different. So like, but that was television. You didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
Now that we have the internet, like everybody who's listening should be posting on Facebook. It's huge still. I'm getting 25, 30-year-old audience on Facebook. Now they're on there like once in a blue moon compared to whatever, but like you should be relevant to Facebook audience. You should be relevant to TikTok audience. Snapchat's culture is slightly different than TikTok's. And TikTok's like, it's all different rooms out there and you want to be in every room. And so what I talk about in the book about cohorts is consumer segmentation. And the reason I say with teeth is Adland, Don Draper, advertising, marketing agencies, the big brands that we work with, the biggest brands in the world. They like to talk about consumer segmentations, but they have one. They're like, we're going to sell this beer to health-seeking enthusiasts. They make it fucking broad as shit. Because they're going to make just they're going to make one commercial on television and health-seeking. What they're basically telling you is like, let's make a beer commercial where like the couple went to yoga and after had a beer. Do you see what they're doing? What I'm saying is if you want that beer to be relevant to a lot of people, like you need to go deeper in that. And it needs to be like yoga moms, young yoga moms in Kansas City, you're going to make a very different piece of fucking Facebook content or Instagram content than if you say professional moms in New York City who are having their first child at 40 and fuck with yoga. Can you imagine how different those two pieces gotta be?
Very different.
Well, that's called fucking cohorts with teeth.
Love it.
Shorts is interesting to me because unlike some of the other short form video platforms, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. Number 2. And the amount of people that go and search things on there, and even with the rise of, you read the headlines of TikTok and Instagram search, there's still a real chasm. Those are fun headlines and it's growing, but YouTube is a disproportionate number 2 search engine in the world. And when you make an individual short, every short I make from what I care about, I title more for search engine logic than I do almost, like sometimes my title makes no goddamn sense with the video I'm putting out, mainly because I'm so obsessed with in 4 months, somebody's gonna search against this title and I'm gonna show up. And I think all of you understand that unlike the other short form video platforms, that shelf life to have that short form video in a shorts environment is dramatically longer than it would be in the alternatives. That goes back to what I'm saying about the A+ versus C- capabilities. If you're thinking about shorts exactly the same way that you're thinking about a Reels or a TikTok, you're now taking out some of the variable differences within them. Forget about demo and age, and more importantly, what I can definitely tell you as someone who's organically marketed in these platforms since 2006, the room you're in matters. Literally every sentence in your copy, depending on which platform you're on, I think this should be very common sense. If you're posting the same video on LinkedIn that you're posting on Twitter, that you're posting on Facebook, that you're posting on TikTok, there should be some post-production subtle nuanced changes you make to the first, second headline, things of that nature. But at its bare minimum, the copy associated with that video should be incredibly different based on the room you're in. I mean, it's not super hard to say, hey, business travelers, as the opening line to a LinkedIn post that might be, something different that you would put on a shorts that might say, hey, college kids, but still have the same video, depending on that video. And so I find a huge, huge difference. First, it's a self-awareness game. There is multiple mediums that work in communicating. I'm glad you brought up Substack because it allows me to go there. There is the written word. There are people listening right now who know more about video game 1980s culture than anybody in the world, However, they're very self-aware and they're like, this shit, I'm not going on camera. I don't have the gift of gab. I'm incredibly awkward with my words. I'm shy. I don't like it. Good news. Do you like to write? I'm a little bit more there. Or they have great gift of gab, but the camera makes them, it kills them.
Mm-hmm.
Great. You've got video, you've got audio, and you've got the written word. If you want to go to the extremes, you could even animate and cartoon it. You could even go that far, but that's a little bit of a further putt. But what would I say? First, you have to know your medium. The preference is video, because video is a starting point to everything else. I do audio and written word without doing it because everything's extracted from my video. So video is the holy grail, no question. Video killed the radio star, like that's right. However, it is not required. That's very important for people to hear. Number two, once you decide to do it, you have to decide your medium. So for example, if somebody who's listening is really into modern IP law with AI coming, with NFT culture, with Disney, with Pokemon, LinkedIn and YouTube are going to be much better mediums for them potentially than, let's say, Facebook, right? But if you're into parenting, Dr. Becky, big shout out, she's getting a lot of momentum. Facebook's a dream. So you have to know where your audiences are. You have to know what mediums, and then per medium becomes the creative variable, meaning LinkedIn is a monster for the written word. You write a epic for Substack, like New York Times, Opt-in, blogging, Medium. You write 12, a newsletter person, you write 12 paragraphs of fire about something B2B or business oriented, and you post that on LinkedIn with a good picture, their now For You page stuff will get you lots of views, lots of reads. And LinkedIn is a very different audience. You get one proper to read that, you're getting a message on LinkedIn that's going to make you money.
Mm-hmm.
B2B and grown up business, LinkedIn is one of the biggest opportunities that people miss because, for example, this iconic CPG brand you're building, if you write 4 paragraphs on your strategy of something you see on LinkedIn, that may lead to a business development deal that will never happen on Instagram where you're building consumer.
Because the distributor from Walmart happens to come across it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Right? And LinkedIn is so global. It could even be a small, cute live shopping player in China. People don't understand what's going on there. So to answer the question is they'll all work. When you go into them, it starts getting into real culture. When you're writing something, your headline matters. It's good old newspaper. If that LinkedIn post, the variable is going to be your opening headline. What I think has worked for me, and I wish more people were doing this, when I go do something like this, I'm desperately trying to bring value to your audience. I'm not trying to extract out a book sale. I'll take it, but I feel like I want to earn that by actually bringing value in it. And I think it's a fun way to wrap this up. I think more people in the world, actually, here's a fun way to say it. You want to grow in social media? When you post, why don't you think what's in it for the other person instead of what's in it for you? The main reason 99% of businesses and people can't grow on social is they're selfish. They want the likes. They want the followers. They want to sell something. Well, guess what? Your audience may not like that. And so I think if the world can get more into bringing value, all the things they want, the questions they'd like to be asked, the promotion they would like to do, all that works itself out. And I think that's a perspective change a lot of people need. Let me help creators right now. Almost everyone doesn't know who you are. Powerful silence after that. I wanted that to really settle in for everyone. When creators come in here who have 51,000 followers and they're like, Gary, I don't want to be overexposed. I'm like, brother, good news. No one knows who the hell you are. Bro, I go to airports, I get stopped 13 times for selfies. It's profoundly a lot. It's a lot, but it's 13, 4,000 people walk by me. Do you know what I mean?
You make a good point.
So overexposure, no. But it's a quality quantity ratio to your point. Does everybody have enough creative ideas to put out good content? These are the things that are the issue, right? I think that's a huge issue, that most people aren't creative enough for new ideas, different formats. Do they have enough for brands that are listening, have they allocated enough money towards it? Brands will hire a creative AOR agency, millions of dollars to think of one idea for the year, but they don't spend that much money on producing social media creative. It's nuts. It's crazy. So, I think there's a lot to